So I came across this video of Messi being sworn by people, and I wanted to play right here. Let's see. Volume's up. And then there's this other one right here. It was from a restaurant in Buenos Aires where Messi was having dinner, and here it is. Yeah, so there was that. And the reason why I pulled it up is I do actually wonder, and this is just a question, this isn't like a video that's going to give you the answers, but is Messi just as worshipped as Diego Maradona was now in Argentina? Because, and I'll say this right now, there's no argument anymore. Messi is better than Maradona. I'm fine if you think Maradona, maybe you prefer Maradona, especially if you're older and you grew up in the 80s or whatever. And I understand that Maradona won the World Cup during the time where there was this heated tension with England. And not only that, but with Maradona, the difference is Maradona didn't really have a team. I still contend that Argentina team is still not good. I think that Argentina team, when you look at it objectively, you look at the players and you think that's not a team that should have beaten Brazil or France. I think it's a good team. I just don't think they're a team that should have ever been in the conversation of winning the World Cup. I do think it is the best team Messi has had, besides maybe 2010 when there was Riquelme and Zanetti and all those players in their prime. Uh, but however, it doesn't matter. They're World Cup champions. Argentina is the defending champions. Messi has won more than Maradona. He has made more appearances. He's scored more goals than any Argentina player of all time. He's won a Copa America, something Maradona didn't get, a Finalissima, and has won a World Cup. And in all those tournaments, in the Copa America and the World Cup, he dominated. In the Copa America, he was the top goal scorer, the best player, most assists, everything. In the World Cup, he was the second top goal scorer, best player, and a lot of assists, was the biggest playmaker in the entire tournament. And I think, honestly, I don't see any argument anymore, because back in the day, it used to be, if Messi wants to be in Maradona's level, he has to win the World Cup. But not only has he won the World Cup, he's exceeded every other expectation. Sure, he struggled to get there, but he got there regardless. You know, and I do wonder. I feel like what you're gonna see from Argentina is the current older people, and I think I've noticed this already. The current people who are like in their 40s, 50s, they're gonna say Maradona, and that's all right, because, like, for example, me, I think everyone has that one player that isn't rated that highly, and I'm not saying Maradona isn't. I'm just saying that I think every football fan has that one player that they rate so highly, but not everyone sees that. But it's mainly because of your childhood. Like me, for example, one of the players I looked up to was Diego Forlan. I remember he's an Uruguayan striker. I know a lot of Manchester United fans are going to listen to me and think, really, him? But I remember during the 2010 World Cup, he was literally seen as, like, I literally looked at him like he was this invincible force of nature. And there's been some players like Didier Drogba was there, Samuel Eto'o. There's a lot of players that I looked at, but now aren't like I feel like a lot of kids nowadays don't know enough about those players, right? And another example of this is David Beckham. I didn't watch David Beckham. I remember at most I saw him at LA Galaxy, but I didn't get to appreciate his time in Madrid or Manchester United. However, if you talk to somebody who's at least 5 years older than me, they'll tell you that Beckham was this legendary god status in England. But I personally don't have that, and I think a similar is going to happen with Messi and Maradona. If you're a Maradona fan, more than likely you're in your 40s, 50s. You grew up having that memory of Maradona winning the World Cup for Argentina. While I think with Messi, you're going to see more the current generation. I think if you're in your 20s or even 30s, and of course younger, you're gonna remember Messi winning the World Cup, especially because Argentina has not won the World Cup in 36 years. And I feel like now when you think World Cup in Argentina, you're gonna have the core memory of Messi winning it, you know. And to use another example, Landon Donovan. I guarantee you, all my European fans out there either have no idea who Landon Donovan is, or know him but don't have any, because he didn't do much in Europe. I think he was loaned to Bayern, he was loaned to Everton at most. But to me, Landon Donovan's a legend in my eyes. I remember when I was a kid in the United States, he was the big deal. He's kind of, I'm not going to say the same level, but he's kind of like what French people look at with Kylian Mbappe. It's like this guy that everyone's looking at because he is the face of the country's sport. And then that was similar with Landon Donovan with the United States. Similar with Mexico with like players like Giovanni Dos Santos or Rafa Marquez. There was those players, and I think it just depends. But no, I do wonder, is Messi now as worshipped as Maradona? I think so. You saw the celebration, you see everything. I actually remember when I was younger. I think I was like 12, and I was playing for this one football team, and I remember there's like these two older adults talking about how they genuinely hated Messi, and they were both from Argentina. And I remember they would like talk about how they think Messi's the most overrated player, how he's nothing compared to Maradona, and that used to be the conversation. I remember back in the day, especially with adults, they'd always be like, "Yeah, Messi is nowhere near the GOAT." And this is crazy because during this time period, Messi was like in his early 20s, mid 20s, but yet he already had this tremendous amount of pressure against him, right? And so it is nice to see that now he has all those accolades. Anything, any argument you have, because he's won Ballon d'Ors, he's won Champions League, he's won leagues in both Liga and La Liga. He's won the World Cup, he's won the Copa America. Like what? Right? Realistically, I think the only thing you can pin against Messi is that he'll probably never win a Champions League with PSG. That is realistically the only thing. And even with that, you can't blame Messi for that. You got to use Mbappe, Neymar, and Ramos. You can't just put Messi at blame for that debacle. All right. I mean, if Zlatan couldn't win Champions League, I do think, I will say this though. I think if PSG, honestly, this is what PSG should do, and I know I'm getting off topic, but if PSG does want to keep Mbappe satisfied, number one thing you need to start doing is stop having Mbappe be your sport part of the decision making. I think Mbappe should be your poster boy, similar to how Messi was for Barcelona in the 2010s, or Neymar for Santos, or Ronaldo for Madrid. You can have that, but I think what you need a proper sporting division. You need a proper uh, group of people who will get you the right signings, who can focus on youth, but also focus on the right signings. And I also think that you need to change that core midfield. I think there's certain players that you need to keep. I think Sergio Ramos, I think he definitely offers a lot in the leadership department. I think he was by far the best PSG player against Bayern Munich. Uh, and I think Marquinhos, I think he's good, but I feel like you got to find another center back. Donnarumma, I'm going to say this right now, my rating of Donnarumma has lowered throughout the last 2 years. I just don't rate him highly. When I look at the Madrid and Bayern game, I just don't look at an entertaining keeper. And I genuinely think that they should have just saved their money with Keylor Navas. But, he's still a young goalkeeper. He's going to learn a lot. He has experience with the Italian national team. But with PSG, I think genuinely you got to get rid of Messi. I'll say that straight up. I think what they really need to do is get rid of Messi and get rid of Neymar, because if you really want to have a poster boy, then you got to really go all in on that poster boy. And I think with Mbappe, because here's the thing, Messi, Neymar, Mbappe is like the whole trio of them. The reason why that's not never gonna work is they're all ball dominant. They demand to control the ball because they believe, and they are, they believe they can do what's best for the club. And I think that right now, Messi. First of all, Messi's, I already made an entire video on that, but like looking at it objectively, I just don't think that core can work. I think maybe two of them can work. And I do think Mbappe should no longer play striker. I genuinely think that Mbappe's talent is being wasted as striker. I think he's a far better winger, especially on the left side. And I think that you got to get a core striker. That is definitely something PSG has lacked for the last few years. You got to get that core number 9 classic striker. Because if you look at the French national team, look how great Olivier Giroud and Mbappe were together. So you got to get that. And not only that, when you look at it even more objectively, Messi is not never has been a proper right wing. When you think of right wing, you think of this pacey guy. You can run back and forth and control that right side of the field. Messi's never been that. If you looked at Barcelona games and if you looked at PSG games, same thing with Argentina games, Messi has always been kind of a right center mid, but he's just called a right wing. You'll see Messi mainly will be on the right side, and usually you'll see like the right back running on where Messi should be, because that is the right wing position, and that's usually how Messi is. And I don't think that you can do that with both Mbappe and Messi, because I feel like Mbappe, you can tell that he's trying to do similar. Same thing with Neymar, and that's why I think you got to get a core number 9. I think honestly a signing that they could make is Robert Firmino. Firmino's a great striker. He's on the market, and I think with his experience and his talent, I think you could honestly get Firmino as striker. In the right wing department, I feel like a Dembele type winger. Oh, and by the way, with the striker department, you could also get Colomwani, French guy. You know, he was great for France, right? He's young, talented. He's worked under Mbappe. You know, I feel like you could get him as a striker. Sorry, I'm getting off topic. It's just, I don't know why. But and at the right wing, you need somebody similar to a Dembele stature, like someone like that. Like there's this one guy in Borussia Dortmund. He's German. His name is Adiemi. I think someone like that could fit, a pacey winger. But before you do all that, you gotta really solidify that midfield. You gotta make sure you have midfielders who can control the game. You have to also make sure what system you're playing in. Maybe start playing Renato Sanchez at the central defensive mid. Maybe you have Verratti on the left and at the right. I don't think PSG has the right players. Maybe even have, if you're going to keep Messi, maybe keep him, maybe drop him to the midfield, because I do think Messi is getting older. He's no longer as fast or as lethal as he once was. I feel like there's a lot of things that PSG can improve on that front. But anyways, I'm getting off topic. Maybe I'll make a video on this specific. Argentina is playing on Thursday against Panama. I will be covering it. I had somebody ask me if I'm going to cover the European qualifiers. I've never really kept up with the European qualifiers. I'm not all that interested. But what I might do is cover all the qualifiers in like one long video that are happening. Although I think only Europe is doing their qualifiers, because I believe CONMEBOL and CONCACAF are both gonna do them later in the year. Right? You know, it's crazy to think the World Cup just happened and we're of course getting qualifiers, which I do think El Salvador. I hope El Salvador goes to the World Cup. I've never in my life seen El Salvador go to the World Cup, but it seems likely because they've changed the format of the World Cup. I don't know, but anyways, that was my question. Do you think Messi's as worshipped as Maradona was? If so, let me know in the comments and let me know what you think. Do you agree, disagree? And also, if you're from Argentina, whether you're born there or you're raised there, whatever, let me know your thoughts. I feel like, you know, we could get insight on that. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. See you on the next one. Peace and love. Where do you go to? Where do you go? Where do you go to? I wanna know. How do you do it? That thing you do. Follow you blindly, I'll be your fool. Cinderella, yeah. I think I'll find your glass slipper, baby.